keeping all of those ideas of truth in mind as we go forward, let's look at what the Bible says about Christianity and indeed Judaism with the Hebrew Scriptures and other faiths. At first look, I think most people will assume that the Bible says that the Jewish and then Christian tradition is the only faith and all the rest have nothing to offer us. And in fact, yes, the first of the 10 Commandments is, "You shall not have any other gods before me." And the story of the Hebrew Scriptures is full of conflict between the people of God, the Israelites, and neighbouring gods such as Baal. And Paul warns us also in 1 Timothy not to follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. And some Christians do interpret other faiths as nothing more than the deceits of the devil. But if we look a little bit more deeply at what the Bible says, that's not actually the whole story. Early Judaism did take a violent objection to some pagan cults, especially cults that involved human sacrifice. But did the Hebrew Scriptures encounter any other more respectable manifestations of faith? Well, Islam, Sikhism and Buddhism didn't exist at the time of the Hebrew Scriptures. But Zoroastrianism does make an appearance. And in fact, some scholars, mostly Zoroastrian scholars to be fair, think that Zoroastrianism had a great influence on Judaism during the exile and actually shaped a lot of what became Jewish faith and what we recognise as Jewish faith today. King Cyrus, who let the exiles go free during the exile, was described as God's anointed, which literally is a Messiah. It's the same phrase as Messiah. And he was a Zoroastrian, he wasn't a Jew, he wasn't part of the faith of the Jewish people. So there's signs of God's activity, if you like, outside of Christianity or the Jewish faith. Melchizedek is another character mentioned twice in the Hebrew Scriptures, described as a priest of the Most High God, but he appears to be a pagan. He offers a picture then of God, of religion, of valid religion that should be accepted as operating outside of the main story of the Bible. And in our readings today, both Jesus and St. Paul talk about the experience of God without being either Jews or Christians, worshipping an unknown God, St. Paul talks about, and Jesus, well, it's one interpretation of Jesus talking about sheep that are not of this fold. So with all of this in mind, it's not straightforward one way or the other. I'd like to look at 3 views of interfaith relationships, and they're really proposed or at least simplified a very complex view by somebody called John Hick. This is one of my favourite books. It's very, very heavy. But if anyone does want to borrow it, if you fancy bedtime reading, perhaps if you've got insomnia, John Hick's Interpretation of Religion. John Hick's a hero of mine, and this is one of his best books. And he simplifies the views of all religions to each other into 3 main theories or 3 main approaches. And you'll probably find yourself fitting into one of these.